Yo, welcome back to the channel everyone. Nemesis here, and in this video, I want to be sharing my opinion about the new work in progress balance changes coming to Clash Royale. So there's like I'm pretty sure 12 cards on the list, but I'm only going to talk about the cards that might catch your interest. So yeah, with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and kick things off with, I guess, the Royal Recruits nerf. So the Evil Recruits are actually getting a damage nerf, which in my personal opinion, I think is very well needed, and I'm sure you guys could agree with that. The Royal Recruits Evo is just so broken. I don't know if it's broken, but it's definitely way too strong, and I don't know, people compare it to like Six Princes charging pretty much. Like, they are really strong for their damage and stuff like that. So I'm pretty happy that they're toning it down because it really needs to be toned down. And yeah, I could definitely agree with that nerf. Also, I want to talk about the Golden Knight buff. So this one is actually so crazy, guys. The Golden Knight buff is absolutely wild. So they're basically making the ability cooldown go from 11 seconds to 7 seconds, which is absolutely a insane buff for the card. So with that being said, I think that it might actually be a very strong champion at this point. And with that being said, it might just kind of how do I describe this? Like, it might replace Little Prince, I guess, because you could only have one champion. So yeah, I think there's going to be a lot more Golden Knights and maybe a little bit less Little Prince. Which, by the way, Little Prince is also getting a nerf. So they're nerfing the range of the Little Prince by, wait. Actually, I think this guy just gave up. So I'm going to go ahead and jump for the next game. Here's the next match. And back to what I was saying about the Little Prince. Is that, it's getting a range nerf from 6 tiles to 5.5 tiles. Which, and you know, like, I don't know how to explain it, but it doesn't seem like that big of a nerf, but I think it actually is a pretty solid nerf to the card, because it can't really snipe things as much as it used to. Like, I'm pretty sure the Little Prince can actually out-snipe a cannon, but now, with the nerf, I don't think it can do that anymore. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think it can do that anymore. And just stuff like that, it just can't snipe things as effectively, which is pretty good. But, yeah, with that being said, I think it's a pretty welcome nerf for the Little Prince. And, even though I love playing Little Prince, guys, like, I love Little Prince, it definitely needs a nerf. But, okay, this guy's going for a Mega Knight in the back. So, hold on, let me defend this really quick. I'll just go for, like, a Little Prince right here. I should be fine here. I don't want to get, like, too off track, to be honest, about, like, defending this push. But, yeah. Wow, this guy's going absolutely crazy. Yeah, that lightning just completely destroyed everything. Perfect defense. Alright, back to what I was saying, guys, is that the next buff I want to talk about, this is probably like a very, very crazy buff in a good way, and that is for the Pekka. Alright, the Pekka, oh my gosh, it has been so bad for the longest time. Literally, I think the last time it's gotten a buff was back in August of 2019, I'm pretty sure it is, where it gotten a range buff to 1.6 tiles, which is exactly what the buff is doing this time around as well. It's going back to 1.6 tiles, and I don't know if you guys played back then, but that buff for the Pekka actually made it really strong. So with that being said, I think it can be a pretty solid change for the Pekka this time around again. I don't know if it's going to be as strong as it once was, because there's a lot more swarm cards around, so the Pekka range won't really take too much advantage of it. But against like medium tanks to you know, big tanks as well, the Pekka range buff will definitely show a lot, and I'm pretty sure you guys will like it a lot. Like, it's a pretty solid buff, you know, it really is. And you know, it's always welcome, because like I said, man, Pekka has just been so bad for the longest time. The only people that were able to even push with Pekka are one-tricks that have been literally playing Pekka for years, and that's basically it. And even then, those guys struggle. Like, a lot of Pekka players struggle because the meta is always just so bad against it. So I'm actually really grateful that they're, you know, looking at Pekka and seeing that it could actually use a buff this time around. So I'm pretty appreciative of that. Let's go for the next match. here's the next match. And yeah, so that's basically what I got to say about Pekka. So it's always a welcome buff. And the next one I want to go for is the Magic Archer. So, you know, I like the Magic Archer, and I actually like that it's getting a, you know, a buff. They're basically reverting the first time hit speed back to what it once was, like a few months ago or whatever it was. I don't really know. But yeah, they're reverting the first time hit speed, and I like it, but at the same time it's a little scary because they're not really doing anything about Tornado, and Tornado is the main issue when it comes to cards like that. For example, even like Evil Bomber and like the Magic Archer, Executioner, Bowler, they're only super viable, and even the Golden Knight, they're only extremely viable when Tornado is around. So with that being said, I like the Magic Archer buff, but it's a little scary because Tornado is still extremely strong and it pairs well with all those cards. So I feel like in order, if you want to buff that, you gotta like nerf Tornado in some way, shape, or form, because it's gonna get a little out of hand, not gonna lie to you guys. But that's just my opinion about it. And yeah, so with that being said, I want to go ahead and talk about the Evolved Knight, because the Evolved Knight is getting like a hit speed nerf and a damage nerf at the same time. So it's a pretty substantial nerf to the Evolved Knight, which is always welcoming. Like, the Evolved Knight is always very strong. So basically toning down the damage and only pretty much making it as like a really strong tank, or like defensive tank I should say. It's pretty nice, to be honest. So yeah, and I also want to talk about the Evolved Valkyrie. So I feel like the Evolved Valkyrie was pretty underwhelming, and it's getting a very big buff. I was going to say nerf, but it's getting a very big buff. And with that being said, it's getting a 15% HP buff, which is, I think that's a lot, to be honest. Like, I feel like, I don't know, it just seems like a ton. By the way, like, this Eagleum player is like, I don't know, bro. Like, I'm sorry, I gotta, like, stop what I'm talking about. I want to talk about this Eagleum guy, bro. I feel like all the Eagleum players just do the exact same thing, bro. Like, I feel like I'm playing in League 3 right now, which I'm literally not. I'm playing, like, above Ultimate Champion, pretty much, and these guys are playing like League 3, bro. It's such an easy deck to play, bro. I'm sorry, I just can't stand playing against Eagleum. Like, there's just no skill involved in playing the deck. It's just the same strategy over and over again. But that's my little rant about Eagleum. Yeah, about the Evolved Valkyrie, though, is that, you know, it's getting a 15% HP buff, which I think will actually make it meta for sure, because that is a ton of HP to get. There's a couple more, like, balance changes, but they're not as, like, important in my opinion. But yeah, I'm just going to continue beating this guy down real quick. My RG is going absolutely crazy on the tower, so that's basically game, to be honest with you. He can't really do anything. But with that being said, let me know in the comments what you guys think about the balance changes, and I'll catch you guys next time.